Meet Kevin just launched a new startup that uses artificial intelligence to identify real estate wedge deals around the United States. In this video, I'm going to explain exactly what House Hack Wedge Finder AI actually is, how it works, and if I think it's a load of bullshit, all from the perspective of a serial tech entrepreneur and startup investor. I've scaled a tech startup that was named by Apple as the App of the Year. And in yesterday's video, I did an investment analysis on House Hack Inc. So make sure you check out that video. So many of you asked about the artificial intelligence component of the business, so I decided to make this video and explain just that. This video is not sponsored by Meet Kevin, and neither was that other video. I just want to share my perspective. If you didn't know, Meet Kevin is one of the most popular personal finance YouTubers with over 500 million views. His startup House Hack is raising up to $200 million to bring together his domain expertise in real estate investing and sales. If you're new here, I'm Ferris, a Forbes 30 under 30 in consumer technology. I'm an investor in over 36 startups, author, and I just published my second book, How to Invest in Startups, a beginner's guide to angel investing, and I'm the founder of the Startup Investor Academy. I teach anyone how to invest in startups for as little as $100. So make sure you check that out. Now let's go ahead and get right into this, talking about what is artificial intelligence. We're gonna get into some exciting stuff here, but we have to understand the fundamentals before we can dive into Wedge Finder AI. So artificial intelligence is the simulation of human intelligence processes by machines, especially computer systems. Now, specific applications include expert systems, natural language processing, speech recognition, and machine vision. For all the tech nerds in the house, there is no specific programming language that AI is really fulfilled with, but Python, R, and Java are the most common. So here are a few examples of AI in daily life that I know you guys are gonna resonate with. The first one is a chatbot. Chatbots are probably the most common use of artificial intelligence that we see in our daily life. There's a lot of examples, but this is a great one because if you've ever visited a website or even in a mobile application, you feel like you're talking to a human when in fact you're really just talking to the robot. And as you communicate and millions of data points are fed to the system, it can actually learn from that and it can make more intelligent responses because the model is being fed with more data. Another example is the Insta360. This is my favorite new action camera, and I'm actually gonna play some B-roll right now, and you can see that I'm actually carrying the camera and there's an invisible selfie stick. Now there is actually a selfie stick, but the way this camera works, it actually uses artificial intelligence to map out the images and stitch the two videos of the cameras that are on the camera itself, and it can actually remove the selfie stick in real time, which is actually pretty mind-blowing. Now another example of AI that's going to impact all of us if it hasn't impacted you already is self-driving cars. Autonomous driving is here, it's been here, and is going to continue to progress over time, and this basically applies artificial intelligence, machine learning, which we're going to talk about, and it allows the vehicle to basically drive by itself by feeding it lots of data points, and it learns over time. So let's go ahead and break down how this actually works, and then we'll talk about Wedge Finder AI. AI works by ingesting large amounts of labeled training data, analyzing for correlations and patterns, and then using the patterns to make predictions about future states. So this works by acquiring data and generating rules. And these rules are often referred to as algorithms. We've heard that expression a lot. Meet Kevin talks about it in his videos where he's explaining how the Wedge Finder AI actually works. Basically, there's an algorithm, and those are the rules. Machine learning is just a subset of artificial intelligence. Like I mentioned before, there's a lot of different kinds of artificial intelligence, including machine vision, but machine learning is basically an example version of artificial intelligence, and that sits underneath it. Now I want to talk about the Wedge Finder AI. The basic definition that I was able to create from listening to Meet Kevin talk about it, reading the investment materials, which by the way, if you are investing or thinking about investing, you should probably read that 28-page investor slide deck. I'm not your financial advisor. Do your own research. Investment has risks. We got that out of the way. It is a vision-based AI software that identifies wedge deals fast, and that's really important, so that House Hack, aka Meet Kevin in this stage, doesn't have to waste time looking at and analyzing deals. So really the value proposition of this AI was designed to scale and reduce the amount of time spent doing something that Meet Kevin is doing on a regular basis. So something that he knows really well, and he wanted to create a model that can actually be scaled up so that way he can amplify the knowledge set and experiences that he has in his head. And basically what he's doing is he's using lots of different data points that he's taught this AI model. And one example he gave in the video is actually looking at different images and assigning them on a scale of 0 to 100, and basically being able to assess just from the image if it is a good wedge deal or not. So if you're not familiar with what a wedge deal is, using the example that Kevin actually used in his video, you are looking to buy a property. It is in a neighborhood of $550,000 homes. You find one for $400,000. You put $50,000 of work into it. Now it's a $450,000 investment, but the appreciation should be $100,000 because the property is really worth $550,000. So you have this $100,000 arbitrage in the market, and that can only be done if you can analyze the deal appropriately, but that takes time. And this AI software is developed in the hope that you can actually scale that so that way you can find deals that you may not have spent time otherwise finding. Now, this isn't going and buying the house for you or anything like that. It's just presenting you with deals that you might not have seen otherwise because there's only so many hours in the day. He also makes it a point to mention that this is not a filter. So it's not like I'm looking for homes between 400,000 and 600,000 in this zip code that were built in this year. That is probably fed into the model as well, but that's not the core premise of this AI software. Now, I want to talk a little bit about my perspective as a technology entrepreneur and seeing AI buzzwords thrown around left and right, machine learning, all that fancy business. Meet Kevin really needs to decide, does he want to incorporate technology in the underlying thesis of the business, or will this be something that's just a nice to have? It'll help them do their job, and then they potentially will scale that out and put it on the App Store or something like that. He made a reference about being able to license this technology as a software as a service product to realtors around the United States. I would not agree with that strategy simply because selling this type of technology B2C is not going to be as scalable as if they just incorporate it within the business and they train it to be as strong of an AI as possible, and then they can go out and at scale acquire these assets faster than anyone else, and they can find these gaps in the market. And if you license out that technology, you're basically giving away the secret sauce of what you do. Now, some businesses have been able to do that. I want to know what you guys think about this AI technology down below in the comments, but now I want to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of AI and how it can relate to the Wedge Finder AI. Again, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Some advantages of AI. Now, this is generic, and then we're going to associate it to Wedge Finder AI. So it is good at detail-oriented tasks. So if you have to do something at scale and it's going to take a lot of time, AI is a perfect tool that can really solve that problem for you. It also reduces the time for data-heavy tasks. So if you have to go through and analyze a ton of data, building out, that's the power of programming and software development, and especially with AI, it can really amplify that. Thirdly, it delivers consistent results. So if you have an AI model, if you're doing something even with machine learning, it's incredible to be able to scale out the inefficiencies that you solve through artificial intelligence. And that applies for everything we just talked about and why I believe Kevin decided to go the route of building an AI tool. Now, the disadvantages of AI is that it can be very expensive to develop. Now, Kevin did mention that he started this project in 2019, building this out with one developer. Just the fact that this was built out with one developer in a relatively short period of time means, by definition, it's a pretty simple AI model. Now, one of the disadvantages to the way that Kevin is going about this is that to build a really powerful AI, it takes time. And the reason why it's expensive is because there's not that many people who can do this effectively, and those people cost a lot of money. There's a reason why software engineers at Tesla and Google and the big tech companies make so much money, because there's not many people who can do it, and the growth opportunity for the business that has that power, that technology, and that technical talent is so massive. So to only have one person working on it for a couple of years means it's probably a really shallow application of artificial intelligence. I believe, again, I'm not his advisor, I haven't talked to the guy, but I think it would be very beneficial to go to the length of thinking of long-term product development of like, what can this AI really do in the future? And what is the right infrastructure to be able to do that? He has expressed his concerns of not wanting to spend a ton of money on technical talent, not having all this cash burn up front, and I understand that. At the same time, if you're trying to build something magnificent, you can't go down the cutting costs method. And otherwise, you're just building out a scaled version of Meet Kevin without the technology infrastructure that can actually make that possible. So that's why I really wanted to emphasize that point of, yes, it is expensive to develop, but there's a reason why it's expensive to develop. Most businesses do not need any type of AI. And in the future, aka 5 to 10 years from now, there will be a lot of third-party platforms that you can layer into almost every single business that will do everything that we're talking about even better than if you had developed it in-house. The difference is if you build it yourself, you're basically positioning yourself to take over the market and to be the company that is building this infrastructure that others will then leverage. And so to have that early mover advantage is huge. But if you don't invest up front, it's not really going to be possible. I want to get through these other disadvantages. It requires deep technical expertise. Yep, we already covered that. And then the lack of ability to generalize to additional tasks, to cross-industry tasks. So for example, if this beautiful AI is developed in real estate, it doesn't mean it can be applied to some other category. It's not that easy. It can certainly be molded and the concepts can be retrained. However, it is a completely different category and it's not applicable across sectors. So that's something very, very important to keep in mind. Now, if you guys haven't already expressed your opinion, let me know down below what you guys think, what questions you have. I'm so thankful that Meet Kevin actually shared my last video. So if you haven't already checked that out, where I do a full deep dive on the investment opportunity of HouseHack Inc., the parent company that owns the Wedge Finder artificial intelligence, make sure you check out that video. And while you're down in the comments, letting me know what you think. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe, share some love. Here I teach you how to take your idea and turn it into a business. I share behind the scenes of what it's like being an entrepreneur building a global technology and media company. Can't wait to cheer you guys on to take your dreams and turn them into a reality. Wish you the best of luck and keep hustling.